Hey everyone, before we dive into today's story, please hit that subscribe button and join our community. Drop a comment below to share where you're watching from and which city you call home. After you watch the full video, let us know in the comments what you do in this situation. Be real with us. We read every single comment. Now, let's get started. The sleek glass doors of the Meridian Tower slid open with a soft whoosh, sending a wave of chilled air laced with hints of jasmine and gleaming stone. I stepped inside, gripping my worn duffel bag, the same one that had seen me through college, job hunts, and countless late-night bus trips. In the heart of the lavish lobby, my sister Hannah stood, radiant in her tailored gown, laughing with her friends as if she ruled the room. The moment she caught sight of me, her grin stiffened. "Oh, great," she said, her voice carrying just enough for everyone nearby to hear. "You actually showed up." Her friends turned, their sharp giggles cutting through the gentle hum of a piano in the background. I pressed forward, ignoring the way her friend Melissa stifled a smirk behind her hand. "Hannah," I said, keeping my tone steady. "Mom said dinner's at 8. Hannah's eyes flicked to my scuffed sneakers, then to my tattered bag. "Dinner's on the rooftop, Emma. You need a reservation just to step foot up there." She tilted her head, her smile dripping with mockery. "They don't let delivery girls pass the entrance." Her friends burst into laughter again. My throat tightened, my chest burned, but I held my ground. "I'm not here to prove anything," I said. "I'm here for Mom." But Hannah wasn't finished. She reached out, snatched my duffel, and flung it aside. The thud of it hitting the polished floor echoed through the lobby. "You can't afford a thing in this place, Emma. Just leave before you make a fool of yourself." For a split second, I turned toward the exit, the weight of shame pressing against me, every pair of eyes in the room boring into my back. But before I could take another step, a firm, commanding voice rang out. "Miss Parker." I turned. The hotel manager was crossing the marble floor, his face a mix of surprise and apology. "I'm terribly sorry for the mix-up," he said, stopping in front of me. "We've been expecting you. Your penthouse suite is ready, and the staff has been instructed to arrange everything to your liking." The laughter around us died instantly. You could have heard a feather fall. Hannah blinked, her polished smile crumbling. "Penthouse," she stammered. The manager nodded respectfully. "Ma'am, if you'll follow me, I'll have your luggage brought up right away." I crouched down, retrieved my duffel, and met Hannah's gaze. "Looks like I can afford something here," I said quietly. As I followed the manager to the golden elevator, I didn't need to look back to know every person in that lobby, including my sister, was staring, speechless. The elevator doors parted with a gentle chime, revealing a corridor adorned with golden sconces and plush ivory carpet. My reflection in the mirrored walls seemed different, still me, but stronger, more certain. The manager, Mr. Dawson, guided me down the hall with quiet deference. "Your suite is ready, Miss Parker," he said. "The owner's office informed us earlier of your arrival tonight." I frowned slightly. "The owner?" "Yes, ma'am," he replied. "Mr. Bennett insisted everything be flawless for you." My pulse quickened, though I kept my expression calm. "Thank you," I said softly. When the penthouse door opened, a flood of warm air and golden lights spilled out. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the sparkling city skyline, and fresh lilies glowed in crystal vases. The suite was sleek, sophisticated, a far cry from the cramped apartments I'd once called home. I stepped inside, each polished surface whispering of triumph, of years spent pushing through quiet struggles. The irony wasn't lost on me. Hannah was downstairs, mocking a sister she'd once called a failure. I took a deep breath and allowed a faint smile. Let's see how she handles dinner on the rooftop. 2 hours later, I stepped into the rooftop restaurant in a sleek navy gown, simple yet elegant, courtesy of the concierge. My hair cascaded in soft waves, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel like the overlooked sibling. The host at the elevator recognized my name instantly. "Miss Parker, your family's waiting." As I glided through the glow of chandeliers and twinkling lights, the music softened. Heads turned. Even the waitstaff stood a little taller. Whispers trailed me like a breeze. At the center table sat Hannah, her fiancé Daniel, and our mother, Linda. Hannah's laughter sliced through the air until her eyes landed on me. Her fork froze midair. Emma, she said, her voice tight, you actually made it. I smiled. You said 8 o'clock. I wouldn't miss Mom's birthday. Mom's expression softened with relief. You look stunning, sweetheart. Thank you, Mom. Hannah forced a laugh, visibly uneasy. Well, I guess the hotel let you slip through somehow. Who'd you sweet-talk at the desk? Her friend snickered, waiting for me to falter. I didn't sneak in, I said evenly. I was invited. By who? She pressed, her tone sharp. The janitor? I didn't respond. Instead, I turned to the waiter beside me. Could you let Mr. Bennett know I'm here? The waiter nodded and hurried off. Hannah's laugh wavered. You know the owner? I stayed silent, letting the tension settle over her. Mom leaned in. Emma, what's happening? Before I could answer, the rooftop doors swung open. A tall man in a charcoal suit, mid-40s, exuding quiet authority, stepped forward. Mr. Bennett, the owner, approached with a warm smile. Miss Parker, he said, shaking my hand. So glad you could join us. I hope the suite met your expectations. It was perfect, I replied. Hannah's wine glass trembled in her hand. You know her, she blurted. Mr. Bennett turned to her. Know her? Miss Parker is one of our key investors. Without her, this hotel's expansion wouldn't have happened. Silence swallowed the table. Nearby guests craned their necks. Mom gasped softly, covering her mouth. Emma, you invested in the Meridian? I nodded. Last year, my design firm helped rebrand their interiors, and I was offered a minority partnership. Hannah blinked rapidly. Design firm? Since the day you said I'd never amount to anything. I cut in, my voice steady. I took my one skill and built something real. Every late night, every rejection, every time you laughed at me, it led to this. My words weren't bitter. They were calm, deliberate, final. Hannah's fiancé shifted awkwardly. You never mentioned your sister was successful. She wasn't, Hannah snapped, her voice cracking. She's lying. Mr. Bennett raised an eyebrow, polite but puzzled. Lying? Her company, Parker Studio Designs, is on all the contracts. The color drained from Hannah's face. That Parker? I gave a small smile. Surprise. Mom reached for my hand, her eyes glistening. Emma, I had no idea. Why didn't you tell us? I tried, I said. But every time, Hannah made it clear my work didn't matter unless it was flashy enough to impress her. Hannah slammed her napkin down, her voice shaky. So now you think you're better than me? I met her gaze. No, I just stopped needing your validation. For the first time, I saw a crack in her confidence, a flicker of fear that her control over me had vanished. Mr. Bennett cleared his throat. Dinner's on the house tonight. My thanks for your role in making this hotel what it is. Thank you, I said softly, standing. Hannah's voice broke behind me. You think this changes anything? You'll always be the broke girl desperate to fit in. I paused, turning back with a calm smile. You're right, Hannah. I was that girl. But now I own a piece of the place you're pretending to belong in. Her face froze, her grip tightening on the tablecloth as I walked away, steady and unshaken. The rooftop buzzed with whispers as I stepped into the elevator. The doors closed, shutting out the murmurs, the stunned stares, the hum of disbelief. My reflection in the mirrored walls stared back, no longer the timid sister. She was poised, grounded. But inside, my heart still trembled with years of buried pain clawing for release. Back in the penthouse, the city glittered below like a sea of stars. I slipped off my heels and exhaled. For years, Hannah's voice had haunted me, mocking, belittling, telling me I'd never be enough. Tonight, that voice fell silent. My phone buzzed, Hannah's name on the screen. Part of me wanted to ignore it, but I answered. Emma, she said, her voice unsteady. We need to talk. I think everything's been said, I replied. Please, she insisted, I'm downstairs. I hesitated, then said, fine. In the quiet hotel lounge, Hannah sat by the fountain, her red dress creased, her eyes puffy, no trace of makeup. She looked small, almost breakable. I'm not here to argue, I said, crossing my arms. I know, she whispered, her voice breaking. I didn't know how to face you. Silence hung between us, broken only by faint jazz in the background. I didn't mean to humiliate you earlier, she continued. It's just you always seemed okay being invisible. I thought you'd stay that way. I gave a small, humorless laugh. You didn't think I could change. You liked me beneath you. It made you feel bigger. Her eyes welled up. That's not fair. It's completely fair, I said quietly. You pushed me out of everything. Family trips, holidays, even Mom's birthday plans. You made me feel like nothing, and you enjoyed it. She shook her head. I was jealous, Emma. You had things I didn't: calm, kindness, a heart that didn't need strangers' approval. I hid behind status because it made me feel like I mattered. Her confession hit me like a wave. I wasn't used to her being this raw. I worked so hard to be noticed, she whispered. But even with all the money, the attention, I felt hollow. Then you walked in tonight, and everyone looked at you. It broke me. I stared at her, seeing a Hannah I'd never known. One who could admit vulnerability. I didn't come back for revenge, I said softly. I came for Mom. You made it a fight. Her lip trembled. I know. And I'm sorry, Emma. Truly. I let her words linger, weighing their sincerity. They were late, but they were real. I nodded. I don't hate you. I just don't need you to define me anymore. Tears streamed down her face. I deserve that. You don't deserve punishment, I said gently. You deserve to grow. Her shoulders shook with a quiet sob. You've changed so much. Pain does that, I replied. It shows you who you are when no one believes in you. We sat there for a while, two sisters who'd spent years on opposite paths, now facing the truth of each other. When we stood, Hannah wiped her eyes. I'll fix things with Mom. She saw everything tonight. She's heartbroken. Let her rest, I said. She's been stuck between us too long. As I turned to go, Hannah called out, Emma. I paused. I'm proud of you, she said. I don't think I ever said that before. The words felt genuine for the first time. I gave a faint smile. Thank you. Back in the penthouse, I poured a glass of water and stepped onto the balcony. The city air was crisp, alive with the hum of traffic below. My phone buzzed, a text from Mr. Bennett. Board meeting at 9 a.m. Excited to discuss your next project. Congrats again, Miss Parker. I smiled, setting the phone down. This hotel, once a place where I was dismissed, now held my name in its foundation. Yet the night didn't feel like a victory lap. It felt calm, like closure, not because I'd shamed Hannah, but because I'd finally let go of years of doubt. The city lights shimmered below, neon reflections dancing across glass. Deep inside, the quiet girl who once hid from judgment whispered, We did it. My eyes stung and I let them. Redemption didn't shout. It sighed, soft and steady. The city pulsed beneath me, and I knew this wasn't about wealth or revenge. It was about finding my way back to myself. Morning light poured through the penthouse windows, casting golden streaks across the marble. I hadn't slept much, but I felt lighter, a quiet triumph settling in my bones. The doorbell chimed. A hotel attendant stood there, holding an envelope. This was left for you, Miss Parker, he said courteously. Thank you. The elegant handwriting was unmistakably Mom's. I sat by the window and opened it carefully. My dear Emma, I couldn't sleep last night. I saw what happened, how Hannah reacted when the truth came out, and how you carried yourself with grace, not arrogance. I'm so proud of you, sweetheart. Not for the wealth or success, but for keeping your heart kind through it all. Your father would be proud too. Love, Mom. I pressed the letter to my chest, tears welling. For years, I'd fought to be noticed, not realizing the only validation that mattered was this quiet recognition from the one person who'd seen my journey. My phone buzzed again, a text from Hannah. Heading home. I'll see Mom later. I'll try to be better. No excuses, no sarcasm, just truth. That was enough. On the balcony, the morning breeze brushed my hair. Below, taxis honked and people rushed along, chasing their own stories, just as I once had. The city that once felt too vast, too harsh, now held everything I'd built. And the sister who once tore me down had, without knowing, helped me find the strength to rise. A knock broke my thoughts. Mr. Bennett stood at the door, holding a folder. Morning, Miss Parker, he said warmly. Just wanted to review the contract before the board meeting. Of course, I said, inviting him in. As we talked, He glanced around the suite. You know, he said thoughtfully, most people at your level demand attention. You didn't. You let your work speak. I smiled. When you're used to being underestimated, silence becomes your strength. He nodded, impressed. That's rare. After he left, I stood by the window, the city sprawling endlessly below. My reflection showed a quiet smile, not proud, but weathered, the kind earned through survival. I picked up my old duffel bag from the corner, the one Hannah had tossed aside. My fingers traced its frayed edges. It wasn't much, but it held my story, my struggles, my resilience, my dreams. I couldn't discard it. Instead, I tucked it into the wardrobe, a reminder of my roots. Later, I met Mom for tea downstairs. Her smile was weary but warm. You handled everything with grace, she said softly. You didn't tear anyone down. You let the truth speak. That was enough, I said. She squeezed my hand. That's what strength is, Emma. Quiet, steady kind. The sunset glowed behind her, bathing the lobby in golden warmth. This wasn't a story of revenge. It was one of rediscovery. Hannah would face her own lessons. Mom would find peace between her daughters. And me, I'd already found mine. As night fell, I stepped outside, the city humming around me. Relentless, alive, yet somehow softer now. I smiled to myself. Once the girl everyone mocked, I was now the woman they whispered about.